Hello, welcome. Today we will talk about Vargottama planets. Vargottama, in the context of charts, means the best position. These planets are the best planets in our chart. We definitely need to get its condition. As soon as its condition arrives, all our troubled tasks will get resolved. This is the motion we all have regarding Vargottama planets. First of all, what is the technical meaning of Vargottama? Vargottama means a planet in the same sign in the D1 chart. Venus is in Gemini in both D1 and D9. For example, let's say Venus is placed in the sign of Gemini in the D1 and it is also in the sign of Gemini in the D9. So, D9, marriage or relationship, your better half of your life. The energy of Venus, which remains intact in Gemini I, is in Vargottam. According to D9, similarly, if Mars is in the sign of Capricorn in the D1 and is also in the sign of Capricorn in the D10. So when it comes to career, Mars continues to maintain its Vargottama energy. So they are considered good. Vargottama has types. A planet can be Vargottama in. It can happen that a planet is Vargottama, but the sign it is Vargottama in is an enemy sign for it, or it is its debilitation sign, or a sign that is outside of its element. So, just by seeing this, by looking at Vargottam and seeing the same sign, just say that the planet has become strong. It will increase a little. We cannot make the planet strong or weak on this basis. The most beautiful meaning of Vargottama is that the planet is the same inside out. It is very predictable and it is very reliable. We know that this person will act in this way. They always do. Your predictability gives you credibility. These changes won't happen. They are unreliable. They become very reliable and predictable. This is the quality of Vargottama planet, best planet. The feelings of a Vargottama planet create a lot of noise around it. They are the same inside out. Their situation doesn't change and their feelings don't change. What they are saying and what they will do will be the same. So Vargottama planets are very consistent, reliable, and authentic. Let's talk about what kind of factors come together to make Vargottama very good. This doesn't make it so good. A Vargottama strong planet and not a weak planet, according to me, is not a weak planet. It is a very reliable planet, a very consistent planet. So, the technical meaning of Vargottama is that the planet is in the same sign and in the first and ninth houses and any divisional chart. So, the planets are bringing a lot of consistency in the results they are producing. We believe that these planets become highly auspicious. They give strong positive results. All sectors of life, whether it's their periods or their significances, remain intact. Big. What we have to remember, the nature of this planet is unchanged. They provide their results consistently. Their situation remains the same, their feelings remain the same. For example, if we see Mars in Libra in D1 and also in D9, this means that when it comes to relationships, what does Libra mean in the Kalpurush chart? It means relationships and it is passionate. If Mars is Vargottama in D10, in Libra, when it comes to partnerships, it is very passionate, whether it's in business or otherwise. But if Mars is the lord of the 8th house in the Kalpurush chart, it also indicates loss in relationships and urgency to do something which may not be very favorable. What if this Vargottama Mars is not getting a good house or good combinations? Because one sign, repetition of one sign cannot make a planet great, technically speaking. What is the most important concept regarding the elements of planets? Whenever there is Gautama on any planet, it means their elements are not changing. The element in D1 is moving to D9, like planets, signs can. Now, element may be there. Just like there are friendly signs and enemy signs for planet, there are also cruel signs and gentle signs, benefic planet signs and malefic planet signs. In this way, planets also have their own elements. Planet signs and their elements. Planets have elements in signs they gain or lose comfort. In fire signs, 1st, 5th, 9th, Mars or the Sun perform well when in their element or it moves from its element to another element where it doesn't feel comfortable. This means that in fire element signs like the 1st, 5th, and 9th signs, if Mars or the Sun are in their own element, they will perform well because they are staying intact in element. Are they feeling comfortable there? The 1st, 5th, and 9th signs are comfortable signs for Mars and the Sun. There are also friendly signs, so they will perform well even for Jupiter. If we talk about the Moon and Venus, let's even talk about the Moon because it is a water planet, despite being a friendly planet. If they go into the 1st, 5th, and 9th signs, so the Moon is moving out of its element. So they will feel out of place and they will become a bit incompatible. So, first, you need to see if any planet is in its own element, if it is going into the same element, or if it is going into a complementary element. What complements it? Does the element of opposition always complement you? Just like air complements fire. All right? So in that way, you will also feel comfortable in complementary elements. Now, in the earth element signs, the moon, Venus, and Mercury feel comfortable, right? The moon and Venus are water elements. Where does water feel complementary? Earth comes in opposition to water. So, is this a complementary element for them? Which planet will not feel comfortable here? Here, planets like the Sun and Mars will not feel comfortable. In the earth element signs, where Mars is exalted for the Sun, 2nd to 10th signs aren't bad. Remember, earth isn't complementary to fire. Water completely destroys fire. But remember, for fire, earth is not a very complementary element. But water is an element that completely destroys fire. In the air element signs, there are also Mercury, Venus, Saturn, and Rahu. Such planets will feel more comfortable because Saturn is an air planet. They feel good in the air element signs, mainly in the 3rd, 9th, 7th, and 11th houses. 37, their friend is in an exalted sign or their own sign. And Mercury and Venus also feel good here. Due to being in friendly signs, one of these signs will become a debilitation sign for the Sun. And where we are seeing Venus in a comfortable placement because these are the signs of Venus's friends. At the same time, we cannot forget that Venus 1 is burning. So it is going into Eta Tattva on its own. He is feeling uncomfortable there. Now, when we are applying so many concepts, like it's not a friendly sign and it's moved out of its element, it seems like we are not reaching any conclusion. You see, the direct meaning of the element is that the particular element which represents something is lacking. For example, if fire represents vitality and Mars or the Sun goes into the Pisces sign, then it is their friendly sign. Still, their fire element intake is not remaining. There is a deficiency in it. Whether it's vitality, heat, action taking ability, heat, health, or go getter ability. Virtues remain as they move into friendly signs. Choose which planet loses significance because they're entering friendly signs. So you have to pick and choose which planet, after moving into this sign, is losing its particular significance. On this, the element is SR, enemy, and the house is fine. When we talk about water element, signs, the moon, Venus, and Jupiter perform well. The sun and Mars do not perform well here. When we talk about air, element, signs, what is opposite to air? The opposite of air is fire. So, is the complementary element for fire element planets. But keep in mind, my planets are of the fire element. They're not being debilitated here, fire tear planets. So, we're not going into cruel signs here. There isn't a sense of urgency to take action with cruelty among them. We'll discuss signs. A planet in a friendly sign is exalted, in an enemy sign, debilitated, and in a cruel or soft sign, it affects impact. A planet in friendly sign is exalted. If in enemy sign, it is debilitated. And if in cruel sign or a soft planet sign, Venus in Scorpio is intense with Scorpio's energy. Just like Venus is exalted in Scorpio because it is in its own element, but being in Scorpio, it is in a very intense sign of a cruel planet. So the intense energy of Scorpio is rubbing off on Venus. If Saturn is in the sign of Leo, then Saturn is an air element planet. If they are moving into a fire element sign, then air and fire complement each other. But for Saturn, since it is in an enemy sign, it lightens the tweets of both planets. Just like the sign of Leo represents a stage, showing people like a king, stage fright comes in, leading to a lack of confidence. In the sign of Leo, a service planet is coming. You know to all others who won't like the Leo sign, they're spoiling it. Should I say that Saturn is exalted in Leo, or should I say that it is moving into an enemy sign? In fact, the traits of Saturn are similar. If Saturn is moving into Leo, then your working style is being influenced by Leo, which means there could be skills involved. Those could be skills passed down through ancestry. So they might are showing me in the continuity of D9 that is the same, come what may, you are not changing. Whether it's friendship or enmity, houses also matter. So while you are exalted, the signs where this exaltation occurs in the chart fall into the 6th, 8th, and 12th houses of that chart. So the base you got in that area isn't very good. The situation we have is not very good. We will also apply the superpose technique in Virgo. If a planet is exalted, and it is exalted specifically in the 6th, 8th, or 12th houses, those signs fall into the 6th, 8th, and 12th houses, D1s. This means that your situation hasn't changed. After superimposing from D9 and from any divisional chart, the energy you are receiving is actually negative energy being passed on. So, along with the sign, of course, the house also matters. How can they forget? One must never forget the cosmic man. For example, if Mercury is in Sagittarius in D1 and D9, then your focus is Mercury in the sign of Sagittarius is all about learning. It gets complete learning. Education and learning have indeed been strong through meditation. And if this exaltation is happening to Mercury in the D9 chart, this means that after marriage and with the passage of time, the learning of exalted Mercury will increase. On the other hand, if it's happening in D10, then this learning or skill will specifically relate to your career. Let's assume for a minute exalted planets mean very strong. And let's take Saturn as an example, which is exalted in the sign of Gemini. Gemini is a friendly sign for them. It also complements their element and is a friendly sign for them, as well as a gentle sign. So, in this regard, Saturn has become very strong now. Now, we can't forget that if Saturn's relationship is not good, Saturn rules over negative emotions. What will happen in the D1 chart now? Shani's strength will make Shani able to do anything evil that he wants to do easily. So don't forget that if there is a negative person in your chart, he is getting strength. That person is getting strength to do what every negative person wants to do. So what are our takeaways? Meaning of Vargottam is that the qualities of the plant are the same, and it is in no mood to change its core nature at all. In the divisional chart, which house you have, or how those signs relate to you, what exactly you can move out of that sign, all of that matters. If a planet is becoming strong or in a bad yoga, then after exaltation, it will increase challenges, not decrease them. Here, Saturn is exalted. After exaltation, it will increase challenges, not decrease them. Look at this chart. Here, Saturn is exalted. Saturn is a functional malefic, yet the 10th and 11th houses are strong. They support career and money making. If they are becoming exalted, this means that Saturn has the qualities of Leo completely. So Venus comes in to skill. They have received support from Venus there, which naturally showcases skills and artistic craft. Rahu also takes your thinking out of the box. So there, this exalted Saturn did a great job. But when it came to relationships and love affairs that Leo Saturn caused, a lot of heartbreaks because Saturn in the 7th house is spoiling everything related to love and partnerships. Rahu and Ketu are also contributing to that. Now, this, Leo, Saturn has not done my 5th house matters any good at all, caused multiple heartbreaks. Saturn, here there are goats as well, which again represent duality. Look at this chart. Here, Jupiter is exalted. Jupiter is the lord of the 7th and 10th houses in this chart. It is exalted in the 5th house in Libra. In the D9 chart, they also have the 11th house. Now, Jupiter in Libra represents wisdom. In Libra, they will gain the wisdom to do business and they will find ways to create money. But because this is an enemy sign for Jupiter, in the case of Jupiter, the element won't matter much because it is an ether element. But because this is an enemy sign, it hasn't provided much support in relationship matters. Their business sense is very good. They have a very good understanding of their work. After they joined their father's business, a lot of growth has been seen. But when it comes to relationships, you can't look at it from a business aspect. You can't always measure it. Where Jupiter spoils the significations of Libra, Libra spoils the significations of Jupiter. So, this combination is not going right, despite me saying that Jupiter is exalted. Look at this chart in Libra. Both the Sun and Mercury are exalted in this. The Sun is moving out of its element. If I look at the D9 chart, this sign of Scorpio falls in the 6th house. Mercury is an earth element planet. The water for the earth is a complementary element. But because this is an enemy sign for Mercury, it uses many of its good qualities and virtues here. One good thing about Scorpio is that when you learn something, you learn it with depth and intensity, because Mercury is also our fifth lord. If the Sun is going into Scorpio, which is also our fourth lord of degree, attainment, your learning style will be one that goes deep into learning. Now, since the Sun is the fourth lord, I should speak all good things for the fourth and the significations of the Sun, because it is exalted. Because the Sun and Mercury are the D1 planets for this chart. The Sun rules the center of one malefic planet, although they are not friends of the ascendant lord. I should have said this because of their exaltation. My fourth, second, and fifth house matters must be very secure. I see the fourth signifier Chandarmako afflicted with Ketu in the fourth house itself, and also see Sun in the sign of Scorpio, which is going to be in the sixth house of my D9. Ever since she is married, happiness, she has never felt something like that. Both the fourth and fifth houses receiving energy from Scorpio indicates a somewhat circling nature of the mind, where everything feels like it's just being tolerated. There's a significant lack of happiness. Where there is a significant lack of happiness. Now, this intense energy of Scorpio, or the exalted energy, has what made me feel that something good was provided. The fourth house represents our mind, and the fifth house represents our thinking ability. So, both houses define us. It's how we feel, how we think. When you are going into Scorpio, moving into the sixth house, I have joined to make your niceness understanding the pain and suffering of others and finding solutions, going out of the way, whether it's through donations, working for causes, or giving your heart and soul to help someone come out of their problems. I have practically seen what benefits their exalted Sun and Mercury have given them. But I definitely noticed that there was anxiety and restlessness in the heart. The next time you see exalted planets in any chart, pay attention to their elements, their relationships, and the signs they are in, and exactly what they can remove from it. Look at what kind of energy base they have received. Before saying that the exalted planets have become very strong and will give great results. Thank you so much.